I think one in the social impact sector, need around technology is increasing immensely. Second
Mhm.
challenge was even though solution was getting built, no one was taking responsibility of solution ground to implement कैसे होगा. Because we all know in sector how expensive it's to get technical resources for
Mhm.
any organization. Even we're trying to solve for four things:
Mhm.
technology, data, AI,
Mhm.
and design. But the gap is organizations they don't have aware in terms of how they need to leverage AI, where they need to leverage AI.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining for the another conversation. We have Vaibhav from 10x Impact Lab today. Welcome, Vaibhav.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Mala, for I think this opportunity. I was looking forward to our conversation. I think we started I think long back to have this conversation, but finally we're doing it. So yeah, quite excited.
Welcome, Vaibhav. Those who know Vaibhav graduated in 2018 as a bachelor in engineering and then started his work with Udyam Learning Foundation and now Gurukul. 2023, 24, it's something when 10x Impact Lab started popping up on our feeds. And today in 2026, 10x Impact Lab is one of the go-to space for tech and data. Why don't you tell us the story of 10x Impact Lab, Vaibhav? How did you and Tony started it? What was the need? How did you felt this is the right time for you also to start an 10x Impact Lab? So yeah.
Sure, Mala. I think would love to, but yeah, I think I'll just go 7 8 years back when I started my journey in the sector. Even though I was in engineering graduate, but I somehow wanted to do something in the social sector, figuring out for nonprofits, but I was not sure what. And I think during that time only I got opportunity to work with Udyam, though my journey started in ops, figuring out a lot of things for Assam, but somehow I was pretty much inclined towards I need to do something in tech and product, and I wanted to solve around that. And I think that's where my journey with product technology started with Udyam. I was part of Udyam's quality and scale lab team where we used to build a lot of 0 to 1 product to do our internal innovation and to see how those innovations are going to help communities or schools picking better solutions. And I think that's where my curiosity around building technology for nonprofits started. And I started figuring out in terms of, okay, what kind of other needs sector have, where the major lag is coming, and why sector is not able to compete with how corporates are building their tech, right? For most of the nonprofits, right, just because they have a lot of limitations around resources, budget, for them the journey is very simple. So it's very much like there's a problem.
Mhm.
Leadership team thought of a solution, and then we
Mhm.
have a very limited number of vendors in the sector. They
Correct.
they are either from social sector or they are from the for-profit world. But the
Mhm.
way they function, you have a problem. I have a solution which I have built within my organization.
Mhm.
You can pick my solution and you can then try to see whether that solution is helping you or not,
Mhm.
right? We are just going to take responsibility of building the solution. Nowhere we are going to take responsibility whether that
Mhm.
solution is a fit for you or not. आपने मुझसे solution मांगा है, मैंने आपको solution दे दिया. That's my part. So that was
Mhm.
one challenge. Second
Mhm.
challenge was even though solution was getting built, no one was taking responsibility of solution ground पे implement कैसे होगा और
Mhm.
solution real users के पास कैसे जाएगा, solution scale के लिए कैसे जाएगा. Once technology is getting built, my job is done. I am out of the picture. अगर आपको और
Mhm.
आगे सर्विस चाहिए तो I will come as a maintenance partner. So
Mhm.
that's what was happening in the sector. So that was one challenge. Second challenge was we all know in sector how expensive it's to get technical resources for
Mhm.
any organization. Even if you want to get a engineer or product manager with 6 to 8 years of experience, आपको 18 to 20 lakh burn करना पड़ता है to get a good resource who is actually coming from that technical background who know the product. And for most of the organization, that much of burn is always go for their leadership positions. So
Correct.
definitely from the technology perspective, they are not ready to burn that much of money. At the
Mhm.
same time, even if they're getting that one technical person within their team, उनको पता नहीं कि उस टेक्निकल पर्सन के साथ क्या करना है, वेयर टू
Mhm.
लेवरेज दैट पर्सन, हाउ टू लेवरेज दैट पर्सन, या फिर उस पर्सन के साथ हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू डिफाइन माई नेक्स्ट 1 year's जर्नी.
Mhm.
For me, these two things were major pain point. But at the same
Mhm.
time, where my excitement was, more and more innovations are coming.
Mhm.
Nonprofits are thinking about technology. दे आर थिंकिंग अबाउट, अच्छा अगर मुझे स्केल करना है तो खुद के लिए कुछ बनाना है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए कुछ बनाना है। एट द सेम टाइम फॉर टेक्नोलॉजी, funding is still a challenge, but it's not a restriction or it's not a limitations. Now we have different sources, different funds. There are funds like Run Matter, quite now Pragati is there, not just
वही तो
putting a
है।
lot of money.
Correct.
हाँ, आरएनपी का पैसा सेक्टर में आ रहा है, एट द सेम टाइम अ लॉट ऑफ फॉरेन फंडिंग्स आर नाउ कमिंग, एजेंसी फंड पैसे दे रहा है. सो
हम्म।
व्हाट आई रियलाइज, if you have right idea and if you want to build something which is going to scale and impact,
हम्म।
money can flow in. You just need to figure out the channels. And that's where for me the excitement. And again, then we started having conversation with bunch of people just to understand whether it's just a thinking और इसकी नीड सही में है, दिस प्रॉब्लम को सही में
Correct.
सॉल्व करने की जरूरत है नहीं है. एंड दैट्स वेयर वी स्टार्टेड गेटिंग वैलिडेशन कि नो, वी आर थिंकिंग ऑन द राइट ट्रैक. Nonprofits needs those advisory suggestions and help to figure out what kind of solutions they need to build. So our journey started with nonprofit where we did pro bono with a bunch of organizations just to help them figure out. I still remember for me and Tony, our first 2 weeks. By the way, Tony is my co-founder. We both started 10x. We both were part of Udyam Learning Foundation, and that's where we both thought of
Oh,
solving this idea. And now
it's
it's
so
it's a
from colleague
yeah,
to
yeah, from
co-founder.
colleague to co-founders. Yeah, so I think it has been a long journey. I know Tony now from last 6 7 years. So yeah, it's been a long journey for both of us. But yeah, we started like talking to a bunch of nonprofits, and in 2 weeks we ended up talking closely 200 nonprofits. And from most
Mm.
of the nonprofits, we were getting validation around this problem. And I think
Mm.
during that time, we applied for NSRCL. It's incubation from IIM Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
So we applied for that incubation. We somehow got incubated. And then we
Mm-hmm.
felt, okay, someone is there who is acknowledging the value of what we're trying to solve. So let's take it bit seriously and let's try to solve it. And that's where I think in month of December 2023, both me
Mm.
and Tony came full time, starting 10x. It's been more than 2 years. I think, yeah, close
It
to 3 years building 10x. Yeah.
very great to, I mean, see your journey growing you, and also today also, I think those who know how tech have been challenging for non-profits, having 10x Impact Lab or such player in the ecosystem, it's actually less costly and affordable, and maybe there are more spaces to innovate. And now,
Yeah.
when you started 10x, and today, maybe what is the scale of your work? What is something
Sure.
that you offer? If
Yeah.
I, as a non-profit or a maybe professional in social
Hmm.
sector, what is something that I can explore with you? What is
Yeah,
something that you
definitely. Yeah, I think most important question, right? So I think before that, I'll just specify, right, the kind of TGs we work with. So we
offer?
primarily work with nonprofits, all kind of nonprofit. We work with philanthropy, CSR, family
Mhm.
funds, and social enterprises also we work with. And very recently we started collaborating with some state governments to help them figuring out their technology. Those conversations, yeah, are in progress. But yeah, finally we have started collaborating with governments also for their GovTech effort. So yeah, these are the primary TG we work with. We're trying to solve for four things:
Mhm.
technology, data, AI,
Mhm.
and design. So these are the four pillars where 10x is hardcore focusing, very much
Mhm.
from 0 to 1 perspective. And on top of that, the core layer is building capacity for the sector. We just felt that's the most core need, which we need to do either in for-profit capacity or pro bono capacity. So capacity building is something which we are doing at the core. But yeah, we are hardcore focusing on technology, data, design, and AI. Our work has been developing around all these four pillars. Coming to what we offer to the sector, we do four things.
Mhm.
Again, it's again very much around how we can enable nonprofit scale their technology. So enabling has always been our term. What
Mhm.
we know, we cannot build something for any organization unless we are not able to enable them. So our
Mhm.
job goal has always been, okay, how we can enable this organization so that once the solution is getting built and 10x is coming out of the picture, they are by own able to use the solution or thereby on able to scale the solution. So that has always been our intention. But yeah, from work-wise, we do four things primarily,
Mhm.
starting with product and tech consulting. Under that vertical, we do support nonprofits with their end-to-end product journey,
Mhm.
starting from helping them figure out what they need to solve, the kind of
Mhm.
problem they are thinking, whether that problem is correct or not, and for
mm,
that problem, whether they do need technology or not. So for
mm,
us, with every partnership, with every engagement, that has been the core question. Okay, you come with a need, but I will not build a technology for you until unless we are not validating whether that problem is valid or not. Once that validation is happening, then we try to see whether there is an existing solution for that problem is there or not. If yes, we always encourage our partners to just use that solution to solve the problem. Why to burn unnecessary money? But if solution is not there, then we just try to put our frugal mindset to help them figure out at low cost what we can build something which is scalable and affordable. That's where product discovery, product building journey happens. And once the journey is getting done, then we help these organizations implement the solution. And it has all component of how journey should happen, how designing should happen, how technology building should happen, and then ultimately how implementation should happen. So this is our
mm,
first service which we offer to the sector, where we help organizations figure out their end-to-end technical journey.
mhm,
Second pillar which we try to solve for is MEL, monitoring, learning, and evaluation. Again, that is something which that is something we didn't wanted to definitely work on. Why? Because there are a lot of I can say friends and partners who are trying to solve for MEL, and we're like, okay, we should not touch that. But as we work more and more, what we realize, every organization need the MEL support. Every organization needs some kind of diversity, and that's where for us that needs started piling up, and then we realized, okay, this could be one thing where we should definitely focus on, why? Because sector needs it, and we have
mm,
that expertise, so why not? So MEL is something which we do end to end, but very much from the technology perspective,
mm,
right? It's helping them figure out what they need to collect, how they need to store, and then what they need to visualize. So we help organization figure out that data journey, and then we work on their policy creation, DPDP, their tech product assessment. Product assessment is something which is coming as a core need for us. So we have helped bunch of organizations solving and figuring out how their product is working and the kind of impact their tech product is creating. So tech product
mm,
assessment is something which we have been doing as a core of our service. Third pillar
mhm,
is product and tech advisory for the organization. So what we've
mhm,
realized, there are some good organization and they are working at scale. They have some kind of tech intervention which is happening, but they are not able to define from the org perspective
mhm,
how their tech journey should look like for next 1 year, 2 year, and 2.5 year. That's where 10x expertise do come in, where we firstly help them audit what they're doing, how they're doing, whether those things are correct, not correct. And if they
mhm,
want to grow and scale their organization, then how they should start thinking from the tech perspective. And that's where we help them building their one year, 18 month or 21 or 24 months tech journey, both from
mm,
operation perspective, how they're going to operationalize their technology in next year. At the same time, how they are going to build technical capacity of their team, and for that, what kind of tools and solutions they need. So that's where we
mm,
do advisory and mentoring for these organizations in that capacity. So that's the third pillar we are trying to solve for. And fourth pillar
mm,
is again training and capacity building. And I think that is something which is coming as a need crazy. I think every month we are working with 3, 4 organizations, just helping them figure out how we can build their capacity. And that is coming
mhm,
on both the fronts, technology, and I think now pretty much AI. So on the capacity building and training part, we are very much invested in AI now, where every month we are engaging with 2, 3 organizations, just helping them figure out one, how they are going to incorporate AI in their organization. Secondly,
mhm,
how their team is going to build their capacity in front of AI. So yeah, I think training and workshop is also something we are doing pretty regular. I think now one more layer which has become very important for us. Definitely, we don't like to talk a lot about this component, which is AI. Why? Because everyone is talking about AI and we're just feeling, okay, AI term is getting overhyped now. But I think
mm,
that is something which has become a very serious need for the sector. Not from the building perspective. I feel there's already a bunch of solution which is going to help sector if sector is able to adapt those solutions from the tool perspective. But the gap is organizations, they don't have aware in terms of
mm,
how they need to leverage AI, where they need to leverage AI. So now we are trying to position ourselves in a way where we can help these organizations firstly to figure out what are the use case for which they need AI, how
mm,
they're going to learn that AI, and
mm,
lastly, for their organization use case, how they are going to incorporate that AI. So yeah, again, that is something which we are doing as part of our effort. and last is GovTech consulting, where we are not trying to focus. So yeah, mainly these are the five things where we are focusing, and that's in our visioning for year 26-27. But yeah, that's what we
I love
do
the
work
energy,
wise.
brother. You and Tony bring to this conversation and engagement. This technology is a maybe a burning sport for founders, leaders in the sector.
Yeah,
And when you were speaking about how 10x Impact Lab is changing, is not just providing tech support, but really love the energy and focus on becoming that thought leader or thought partner for nonprofits. Because today, while you mentioned AI and so many things are coming, everyone is just trying to be a support while maybe understanding doing audit before you get in. Is it something that shows that trust? And then you also have been with Udyam and now Gurukul. So you
yeah.
understand the pain. Really, really like the work. We also were before coming to the podcast, we were just reading about your work, and then really glad to see 10x Impact Lab partnering with AVP, and that also shows the impact and the scale and the depth that you're bringing to the tech and data ecosystem for nonprofits in India or maybe the APEC region. So glad. Vaibhav, many of our viewers, those who watch, know the social sector often. They're keen to explore career and opportunity with the nonprofits or impact-focused organizations. You have team now, and with the work that you and Tony do and the team at 10x Impact Lab does, nonprofit need more and more people like you, and
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
will also look for people. So, what sort of people you look for 10x Impact Lab? If I'm a candidate, what sort of people you currently hire for? What sort of skill, attitude,
Sure.
qualities you look for?
I think good question. As at 10x, I do take care of people and hiring. I think I would love to answer that. But before that, I think for viewers, right, I just want to add one thing. I think one in the social impact sector, need around technology is increasing immensely. More and more organizations are coming in, and I think in next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see 100, 200 more organizations who are going to, again, I will not say they are going to do work very much like what we do at 10x,
Hmm.
but who are going to be very much passionate and hungry about solving for technology for the sector. So
Hmm.
I feel that way the sector is growing, how we are seeing more and more number of technology organizations trying to not build solutions, but actually they're trying to solve for the problem which is happening at ground. So I'm able to see that hunger, and I think that hunger is leading more and more organizations coming the sector and solving this problem. Again, coming to the kind of opportunity or the kind of role we look at 10x, right?
Hmm.
So we are pretty much focused around technology, but intention is never to do hardcore coding. We always say we solve for technology, we enable technology, but we never advocate where we want to do forcefully coding and build a solution. So definitely we don't hire a lot of engineer. It's very much need based. Whether if there's a very hardcore need of building something, like we are building our own platform called as Chatemini. So for that we have a dedicated tech team. But service-wise, until unless it's not important, we do try to see whether we need to hire coders or not. But we engage pretty much with product managers. So we have, I myself is a product manager, Tony is a product manager. My other team members are product manager. So we quite frequently keep hiring product managers. So definitely that could be one scope. If you are interested about social sector, if you feel like solving something which is going to
For
create some
impact.
kind of impact, and if you know you are connected with the sector, at the same time you have some understanding of how to solve for a product, and you have some understanding of how technology should actually get built for the sector, I feel 10x is the place for you to come and explore, and I'm always happy to have that conversation. If you're passionate and crazy about data, if you want to solve for data, it can be collecting data, storing data, visualizing data, crunching data, or just go mad about data. 10x could be a place. If you can think and innovate, and
Hmm.
you know you are someone who keeps seeing the kind of problem social sector is facing. And again, I say social sector, it's not only limited to non-profits, but you might be seeing bunch of problems happening on ground. But
Hmm.
you have seen those problems and you have been always passionate about, okay, I want to solve for this. but I'm
Hmm.
not getting a platform where I can go and build solutions like that, then definitely 10x is going to be a platform for you. So I think these are the three areas where we do hardcore hiring. But yeah, that is the service delivery part. We keep hiring for our business team as well, where right now we're looking for a business lead to come and work with me and Tony directly to scale 10x effort. So yeah, again on business side, we do hiring on bunch of layers, and definitely we are always open to give internship opportunity to I think youths who are quite passionate about social impact, and again skill doesn't matter if you're passionate. You should be aware of what you want to do. So I think if you have that passion and if you're open to learn, then definitely I think internship opportunity is anytime open. You can just write to me, you can drop me email, you can reach out to me over LinkedIn. So definitely we are going to respond. Either we'll say, okay, we are excited, let's have a conversation, or we'll say, okay, right now we don't have opportunity. But yeah, internship is something which like we are always open to explore. But yeah, Mali, I think mainly these are the broad areas where we do hire people. At the same time, if you're someone who have worked in corporate and now you want to give back, at the same time you are quite serious about working with social startups who are trying
Hmm.
to bring some real change. Again, for you also, 10x is a place where you can come and explore working with us. Right now we are a team of 20 people. It's a mix of full-time people and consultant. So we have two kind of team. One is our core team where we have full-time team members, and then we work with bunch of consultant on the project basis. But yeah, we are overall team of 20 people. We are based out of Bangalore. Now we have office space in Bangalore. You can come and work with us. So I think we have now created that ecosystem where you can have fun, you can build innovative solutions at the same time. Yeah, you can make sure you are creating some real impact on the ground. Yeah, and what we
So
look
great.
for.
Vaibhav, those who are watching, the great thing about working with 10x Impact Lab or similar social impact focused startup is that you get to work with multiple nonprofits or
Yeah,
foundation.
yeah, yeah,
You're now working with, say, with them, and then maybe tomorrow you'll be working with some other, and same day you're working with five org and catering to different problem. And the skill or the depth of work that you would be dealing with is something that you won't get anywhere else. So opportunity and spaces like 10x Impact Lab should be a go-to space if you are keen on maybe
yeah,
solving at scale.
yeah,
The
yeah.
other good thing, Vaibhav, you mentioned, I really liked, and I think that's something that I and Sanjana also do at Ground Zero is respond to emails at least. And I think that's a young generation, new founders that are coming in. I think it's a good pain that we are also picking up. Good to hear that 10x Impact Lab also leading that and responding to people. So yeah, Vaibhav, you our young founder graduated in 2018, so almost 8 years now.
Yeah,
Uh,
8, 9 years.
there are folks who want to start, and you started, say, after 6 years of your graduation. I did the same. I studied after 9 years after my master's. So, if someone want to start a non-profit or a foundation or a impact-focused org, be it startup, what is your advice would be to them?
Ah, good question. I think the same thing Tony and I were trying to reflect actually last night why we started 10x, right? So I think definitely I have some of these answers. But I think Mela, before that, right, I just wanted to two things. You might be end up covering this, but as we are talking about the team and hiring,
Mhm.
one definitely I think for me pitch could be we are enough fortunate we are working with some really good organizations from India and APAC. So definitely it's going to be an opportunity for you to I can work with us and collaborate with these organizations to create a long lasting impact. And second, I think you might end up covering this, but on the compensation part, right?
Mhm.
So we are pretty much open on that part. So every time we roll out a JD, so I
Mhm.
think for us it's a mandate thing to put the number up front. So if there's any JD where number is not there, you can just write or you can comment, okay, well, why number is not there. So we just try to make sure whatever compensation we are giving, that number is pretty much visible. But yeah, I can give you some brackets, right? So for any
Mhm.
internship, we have a fixed stipend of 20K per month, which we
Mhm.
give to interns, and it's on an average 3 month internship is what we offer. But
Mhm.
definitely we expect people to learn, work, and deliver. So that has been always there with us. So
Mhm.
again, if you're starting out with 10x, if you're a freshly graduate, then you can
Mm-hmm.
expect somewhere in between 5 to 6 LPA. And
Mm-hmm.
as
Then
you will,
associate.
yeah, for an associate, you can say. So yeah, that's our benchmarking for a fresher. And as you grow and scale, definitely the number change. For mid to senior leadership, it's always vary somewhere between 12 to 20 LPA. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're more than if you're more senior than that, and again, it's pretty much depend on the kind of roles we are hiring. But yeah, again, for senior leadership, it has always been 15 to 25, 28 LPA kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's the kind of structure we have. We are a very new and young organization, so we are still trying to figure out how the structure should work out for us. But definitely, I think for us, financial is never a benchmarking. If you are
Mm-hmm.
someone with whom we are, so for me, there's a word which is vibe. So I think with every conversation, I just try to see whether you are able to vibe with me or not, and I'm able to vibe with you or not. If we both are
Mm-hmm.
able to feel the vibe, then definitely work we're going to figure out. Compensation we are going to figure out. If I cannot pay you, I'll upfront say, I'd love to work with you, but I don't have that much money, so I cannot pay that money to you. But yeah, I think from our side, compensation has been quite open-ended thing. Coming back to your question, right? I think for a aspiring founder, what they should think and look. I
Mm-hmm.
just feel it's starting an organization is never a job. It can't be like, oh, I want to make money, so I should do a startup. Especially in case of social startup, we cannot start a social startup with that thinking, okay, I just want to earn money, I want to make money of my own, so I should do a startup. That's never going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be like suddenly one day you thought of, no, I need to start something, I need to build something, and you'll end up building an organization. What I've experienced and see, right? For me also, it has been a year-long pain point. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen the pain point for 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. I tried solving those pain points with Udyam,
Mm-hmm.
Gurukul. I consulted with bunch of other non-profit. But what you know, the problem is big, and you need to solve this problem at scale. And that's where I
Mm-hmm.
realized, okay, I can try to give an attempt to solve this problem, and let's see at scale what I'll be able to do. So again, coming back, you will have to have that intention, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely you need to have that problem in your life until you're not able to feel the problem. And it's not like you're seeing 10 problem and you just pick one problem and you're trying to solve for that. Definitely the problem should be unique. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because in sector what I failed, we all are friends, we all know
Mm-hmm.
each other, so we cannot create unnecessary competition. It should be
Mm-hmm.
always collaboration. And to collaborate, you'll always have to find that unique space which you can solve, that is either going to help other non-profits or it's going to solve your partners. So definitely you will have to look for that uniqueness which is
Mm-hmm.
going to create the impact. The same time you are driven, you know the problem, you are connected with the problem, and somehow that problem is your pain point. If you are able
Mm-hmm.
to figure out that part, then definitely I think you are going to be in a stage where you can start. And best thing about our sector, right? And I think that way I find a really good friend like you, sort of to Akhila, Sunandan, Satyam, I think all these folks, right? Making, I think making is an inspiration for us. I think making inspiration for both me and Tony. So I think we have seen these people, their journey, and I think somehow we got all our learnings from them. So I think in
Mm-hmm.
sector you just need to have that mindset of starting something. And I think once you take the first step, I think ecosystem is really kind in that way where you just take the first step and there are enough people for you to give their shoulder. So it's just you need to think, you need to be very sure about what you want to build. And it's just the ecosystem who is going to help you figure out what you need to do. That has worked for me. I know that has worked for you as well. That has worked for a bunch of other people. So I think you just need to be sure with what you want to build. You are connected to the problem. You know how to articulate the problem. And there are enough people who are going to help you, support you. I think now for me also it's my time to give back. So definitely, if you're thinking of solving anything, building anything around it, it can be technical thing, non-technical thing, but you are passionate about solving for social impact. Happy to help, happy to like have conversation at any point of time, and I can see what kind of expertise I can provide. But yeah, I think in sector we all are passionate about giving back. Yes.
So nice of you, Vaibhav, just offering time to young people. If you're starting, do reach out to Vaibhav through LinkedIn. Also, Vaibhav, I really liked while you're solving tech and data problem for the ecosystem, you're also catering to some of the problem you mentioned, like mentioning salary, mentioning other detail, even doing the other stuff. So that accountability and transparency to the work
Yeah.
speaks out the approach that you have. And I think that also helped us staying collaborative, helping others and not playing that competition game. So yeah, Vaibhav, I have a last question. There are
Yeah.
folk who also watch this conversation and wanted to understand what is something that they can do so they get shortlisted faster, they get hired faster. So any advice
Uh,
you want to give to people who want to get into this
one.
sector?
So this question is particular to 10x or overall.
Overall ecosystem. Say you have been at Udyam, now Gurukul, and then now
I
you
think
now
I
with
think
many.
one thing I've realized, and I think this is the only suggestion I give to everyone. If you want to work with the organization, don't wait for them to post, okay, we are hiring for this position, that position. If
Mhm.
you're strongly aligning with that organization's vision, mission, and if you know if you're getting in, these are the 4 or 5 areas where you can actually make the contribution, the best way to get into that organization is reach out,
Mm,
do a cold emailing, or it can be a cold calling, whatever medium you are able to figure out. Just reach out to that person, state your intention very clearly. I can say 80 out of 100 people are going to respond. They're going to have a conversation with you. And if they have opportunity, they are going to figure that out for you. If they don't have opportunity, if they are going to like you, they will end up creating something. In our sector, I think 60% jobs are never defined. They are always curated based on the kind of persona we are getting, we are seeing. And I think that has happened with me. Like the kind of jobs I have got into that was never defined, that was never into any job board, but it was always reaching out, having conversation and telling, okay, you are solving this. I'm pretty much interested in contributing in this, and these are the way I can contribute. Is there any opportunity for me? And I've always like gotten back that response, right? So I just feel in that way, sector is quite open in terms of talking to you, giving you directions. If they're not going to hire you, they will end up connecting you to someone else. That's what I do. If we don't have enough space in 10x, I just try to connect that person with my sector friends
someone
for them
aligned.
to explore. But yeah, I think that way sector is pretty much open and kind. You just need to be that open-minded where you want to reach out to that person directly. I think that's the only way.
Awesome, Vaibhav.
Yeah.
Very on spot. Those who are watching, start reaching out. I think what Vaibhav says is comes from the experiences, and I also personally got my second job with Quest Alliance through this a small email I wrote saying that I know your date of this application already passed, but in case you're still accepting application, I would be interested to explore an opportunity. And then I spent almost 5 years there. Uh, and then I think that worked for many of us. So those who are watching, stay tuned for such conversation. We had Vaibhav today. We would be having another conversation next week. Thank you so much, Vaibhav, for joining for this Know the Social Sector series with young founders.
Thank you so much, Mal. I think it was great opportunity. Thank you to you and your team for setting this up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be sharing links about 10x Impact Lab if you want to know more. We'll also post LinkedIn ID of Vaibhav. If you have any follow-up question, chat with Vaibhav and Tony about 10x Impact Lab. See you sometime soon with another founder, another conversation. Till then, thank you so much. Bye bye.